So one has to wonder at times which of these Ubisoft titles are going to fail harder upon release. Is it going to be Assassin's Creed Shadows or is it going to be Star Wars Outlaws? Well, let's weigh the two games together. On one hand, Assassin's Creed Shadows is knee-deep in controversy with both the United States and Japan, but their gameplay, even though it looks pretty crappy from what we've seen so far, influencers have not gotten their hands on it to make judgments for themselves. But on the other hand, for Star Wars Outlaws, we have tons of gameplay from tons of influencers, and many of them were apparently rewarded by Ubisoft for saying positive things about their game. We're going to get into some of that, but we also have to show you guys some pretty crazy, horrendous gameplay from Star Wars Outlaws, go into some of the requirements for that game, and then touch upon Black Myth Wukong. So let's start with this article from That Park Place. More Star Wars Outlaws clips mocked for terrible AI, bad combat, horrible physics, and ridiculous strong female protagonist moments. And guys, you all knew that this was coming. Sweet Baby Inc. has already been known to work with Ubisoft, and Ubisoft has been on the decline for many years now. Remember that they hit their peak years ago, and they have been declining ever since. There is no healthy trading with Ubisoft right now. So it is not a surprise that we have tons of gameplay that is being obliterated by either Star Wars fans or gamers everywhere. It says more Star Wars Outlaws clips have made their way online, and they are being mocked for featuring strong female protagonist moments, terrible AI, and simply bad physics. I mean, really, a Ubisoft game, you guys had one job: make a fun Star Wars game. But not only are you not making it fun, you're making it tedious, you're making it repetitive, you're providing gamers with unfinished versions of the game, with combat AI that is absolutely terrible, and it is immersion breaking 100% of the time. That on top of a main character that is all but unappealing as a playable character type, with a very limited temporary arsenal that only serves the fights that you are in if you are following the rules of the forced stealth gameplay. There's so much here that is wrong with this game. There's a post from Grums that shows one of these things. I just want to show you guys some crazy gameplay today. It says another Star Wars Outlaws immersive takedown via Fleekazoid's roast. There was a YouTuber that made a video mocking all of the gameplay in Star Wars Outlaws. As you can see, the main character goes up behind this stormtrooper and just grabs his helmet and throws him on the ground, and she knocks him out just like that. Boom, done. You know, it's just poor animation effort at this point. These people aren't really trying to make Kay Vess look like a formidable character in any way. They just give her overpowered strength despite her ridiculously small body frame, and she can knock stormtroopers out by slapping them or touching them on the shoulder or just looking at them, I guess. Grums goes on to say, I love how he doesn't even rear his head back to resist, and his legs go limp and spaghetti to enable his fall. I mean, really, she's super strong. She's a strong protagonist, okay? This is how they make the main character playable. This is what the head developer of the game said himself. He wants her to be an approachable main character, so therefore we're going to make her super strong and she can take out enemies instantly. Apparently the stormtroopers just drop their weapons when they're being confronted by this character. Look what she does here. I don't understand this animation. She just walks up and turns his body around nicely. Look at that. Just like, hey, what's going on? Excuse me. Boom. You know what's really amazing is that not only does this game have horrible AI and gameplay, it also has terrible optimization. If you see this post from Learning the Law, he goes into detail about the requirements of the game. And this is some seriously outdated, unnecessary stuff right here. Star Wars Outlaws recommends 3060 Ti for native 720p resolution. Okay, I have a 3060 RTX. I've got a video card that can run most games at max graphics, but the fact that this is only going to get you to 720p resolution is pretty insane. And this is supposed to be a big game. Of course, Ubisoft downplays the graphics of their games, so they're not going to look as great as they do in the trailers. But even so, you're going to get performance issues here. You're not going to get the full scope and visual levels that you would have gotten if you had a much more powerful PC. They also have a season pass coming, and we're going to take a look at the season pass because it is going to break you guys' brains. Immerse yourself in the most empowered female character in the Star Wars universe. Journalists compare this to Red Dead Redemption 2 in space. Okay, so this is one of the greatest games ever, the journalists are saying. Here are some incredible quadruple level AI reactions. Here's some of the reactions from the AI in this game. I hope you guys can see it. So they're just looking at her. She's pointing her weapon right at him, and he sees her at point blank range and starts firing at her. So the AI is really, really dumb. It's poorly designed, poorly executed. The enemies just stare at you and stand there. They just walk right up to you and just start a conversation, I guess. And then some scenes, they just start shooting walls instead of shooting at you. Here's another post from him that I reported on the other day. I'm having a blast with Star Wars fighting mechanics.
As such, the blaster battles felt like they had meaningful stakes, and the stealth gameplay had a bit of weight to it because I knew that
Yep, you had IGN praising this game. And while they were praising the game, they were showing everybody gameplay that is just the worst thing you've ever seen. But that's how the media works, and that is how Ubisoft works. They take the worst parts of their game and they give it to the media and say, hey, you have to say nice things about this game because we need this game to succeed. Even if the gameplay is absolutely terrible. I mean, look at this GIF right here. Here is a GIF of a stormtrooper just shooting a wall randomly. Okay, so K-Vest's character just gets up, looks up and sees stormtroopers just shooting walls. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you're going to walk around seeing while you're playing this game that you just spent $70 to $130 to play. You're going to be seeing a bunch of stormtroopers walking around like chickens with their heads cut off, and they're going to be shooting walls and walking right up to you and doing absolutely nothing while you struggle to comprehend in your mind why you even decided to buy this game. As per manga lawyer, I've never been so immersed in a takedown experience as I was with Star Wars Outlaws. IGN 10 out of 10. Too much empowered women experience as she walks up behind a stormtrooper and smacks him in the head like it's absolutely nothing. I gotta say, stormtroopers are the most pathetic bad guys in cinematic history. And this person says Star Wars Outlaws makes me feel like I'm in an episode of Andor. Oh my goodness.
Move, trooper. There's a possible intruder near the cargo bay.
So this person's hiding behind this one piece of cargo and stormtroopers just run right past her. That's stealth in this game. But by the way, a lot of these segments are forced as she just punches a stormtrooper, knocks him out with her spindly little hands. What more needs to be said about this? Other people who are playing this make jokes about crashing their speeders, but really he has a full-on minute of him crashing a speeder because obviously it's not really designed all that well. There are just so many issues with this game, and we haven't even gotten to the social aspects of everything. But you do have this 3.5 almost hour video from Fleekazoid in which he ripped this game to pieces, and he got a lot of views for it, a lot of likes for it. People absolutely loved it. They do not love Star Wars Outlaws, which is why Ubisoft has to pay people to pretend to love Star Wars Outlaws. As per that Park Place again, because they're awesome at consolidating all of this information, Ubisoft buttered up YouTubers and influencers with trips to Disneyland and boat tours to promote Star Wars Outlaws. So Ubisoft went to a bunch of influential people, content creators, and they said, hey, we need you to say nice things about Star Wars Outlaws. Would you like to fly out to Disneyland to play our game? Would you like some plushies and some dinners and maybe a little bit of monetary compensation so that we can get some positive PR about our game? We're taking way too many hits from gamers right now. Here's where things get really interesting. You may recall in one of my previous videos, I talked about that earnings meeting that happened with the Ubisoft investors, and one of those investors called out their games saying, hey, are these projects really going to be profitable? To which the person that was in charge of this meeting responded saying, hey, we've got the biggest marketing campaign in the works and it's going to be insane for Ubisoft titles. That's what they were saying. And part of that biggest marketing campaign ever was flying out YouTubers and influencers to Los Angeles to give them 4 hours with the game. So yes, I reported the other day there were 4-hour gameplay videos and live streams all over the internet. People were testing out the gameplay, giving their thoughts on it. And many of these people who were playing it were shipped out to Disneyland or the Ubisoft headquarters or wherever to play this game. What was really funny was that on Twitch, it really wasn't getting all that much activity despite all of these influencers that were given all of these lavish rewards. Cyberpunk 20XX revealed that one of his fellow German YouTubers, Kartoffel Koenig, confirmed the claim that it was the biggest marketing campaign ever. In translation, that person said, we are the largest marketing campaign ever for a Ubisoft game, and I can definitely confirm the last part as I was invited by Ubisoft to come to Los Angeles and play in the Star Wars Outlaws event. The location was really polished up and there was a day in Disneyland and something like that. So they got to go on some rides after they played that game for them. I remember Rings of Power did something like this once, and it was a disaster. And that is something that Park Place mentions here. But they go on to say that Cyberpunk 20XX cited a post from Chewy, which states, Ubisoft and Star Wars flew me out to California to play Star Wars, interviewed the game director and lead writer, and meet the cast. I'm beyond grateful. So a bunch of these influencers were taken out, and they got to enjoy a day in the sun at the expense of gamers, but to the chagrin of Ubisoft. Tofu Games wrote, I had a blast experiencing Star Wars Outlaws at the preview event this week. Thank you, Ubisoft, for the Nyx plushie and for flying me out for all the festivities. Man, these people are getting all these nice perks. All they got to do is play a game that everybody is hating right now. Not mentioned in Cyberpunk 20XX's video, but the Star Wars HQ revealed they made lightsabers during the Disneyland VIP experience. Look at this. A picture of a group of influencers. They all got to make Star Wars lightsabers while they were out there playing Star Wars Outlaws. So all these content creators got together and they were like, man, this is awesome. Ubisoft has given us everything we could ever want. Now, of course, some of these people I've mentioned have not actually been given money. Another person clarifies that she hasn't been giving money when she was mentioning in her video that she was not paid by Ubisoft or anyone else to make this video. I was given the opportunity to record content. However, it was fully my own choice to make and share content based on it. The only money I make from this content is from YouTube views. There is no shilling or hidden agendas involved. Well, from what I saw on Twitch, the game was not getting as much activity as I assume Ubisoft was hoping. But that didn't stop a number of these influencers from saying positive things about it. The media said positive things about it. They're calling it Red Dead Redemption 2 in space. I mean, that's probably the biggest compliment you can give a game, since Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the most technically impressive games of its time. But we all know that that's an insane thing to say. Ubisoft games are nowhere near that quality. Some of the games that have come out beforehand, and I'm talking about the more successful Ubisoft games, they still have tons of issues that Red Dead Redemption 2 does not have. And these issues have not gotten better over the past decade. That's why Ubisoft's stocks keep dropping, among other reasons, like Sweet Baby Inc. involvement in gaming consultancy that has all but tarnished their already tarnished reputation. But this YouTuber also notes that Ubisoft has held at least 2 of these big events, and he cites Mirandalorian, who revealed she was invited to 2 events, one in June and another in July. So they're hiring the same influencers over and over again to go to multiple events that they have. Just don't expect all this positive PR that these influencers are pushing out for this game to be genuine. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's okay to suggest that much of this positivity about this game is fabricated. It's not even real. It goes on in that Park Place article to say, of note, this investigation follows in the wake of German YouTuber channel Piet Smiet, which has over 2 million subscribers, admitting that it removed its Star Wars Outlaws preview video, and the video itself was subject to a review process from a third party. In a post to YouTube, Piet Smiet shared that they removed their Star Wars Outlaws preview video from their channel. Do you know why they had to do that? Because they had to get approval first that the video was positive enough to be uploaded. It says, as translated by Deepel, one of the channel's owners, stated, "Hi, Peter here. We've taken the Star Wars video offline, not because we wanted to sweep something under the carpet or anything, but because it should never have been published and we don't want it on the channel. We'll talk a bit more about this in the next Spietcast episode. I'm sorry." So why in the world did they take the video down? Well, they weren't getting approved by the third-party agency. As translated by Deepel, the channel posted, "I completely understand the arguments that were made here, and that was not correct. I had the opportunity to play the game for 4 hours, and it was edited into over an hour of video. As part of the review process, the entire video was thrown back to us, and an intermediary agency, not Ubisoft, asked for a lot of changes." So this agency was saying, hey, this video is great and all, but we'd like you to make a few changes. Now, this guy said, since I personally thought the game was really cool, I didn't see that as a big problem. This was a huge miscalculation. It added, "Sorry, you don't have to pre-order a game. Of course, you can buy whatever you like with your money. I absolutely enjoyed the version I was shown. The process behind it was for the A, and I'm sorry that we didn't print more against it, but let ourselves be beaten wide open. Big sorry for that." So they were asking this person to change the wording at the beginning. So they're like, hey, this word right here, this really doesn't reflect what the game is supposed to be. It's not the most positive thing. Could you just change this so it says something way more positive and appealing and enjoyable about the game? And this guy's like, no big deal. So how many other influencers had to do the same thing when uploading their own content about this game. I mean, how much positivity about Star Wars Outlaws actually exists when most of their YouTube videos promoting their gameplay showcases are in the negative? They're in the red. You can't go to a single Star Wars Outlaws official video for the gameplay or the cutscenes or whatever story trailers they have without seeing an extremely negative ratio, just disliked into oblivion. So where is all this positivity besides influencers that are taken to Disneyland, treated to a nice dinner and a plushie and to a bunch of rides? Probably not very many positive comments out there. And they go on to say that Ubisoft is not the only company to do this and is far from the first, and these campaigns do not always work. They're definitely not working. The perception of this game is highly negative. Most people who watch the gameplay make fun of it, and the people who play it only have nice things to say for certain aspects of the game, but they have an overall mediocre response to what 4 hours that they were able to play. And a lot of people that I've watched play the game have a bunch of complaints about the inner workings of the game, such as lock picking or dialogue options, the AI, the combat. You really don't need me to tell you, because of what you've seen of how bad this gameplay actually is. I mean, this game is so very obviously unfinished. That's why Ubisoft is trying to sell content that already exists in a future Game Pass, because these guys suck. Ubisoft sucks. What happened when Elden Ring wanted to make a DLC? That DLC didn't come out until 2 years later, and these guys had not even started on it when the game was released. But this content right here, and I'm just giving you guys an example of developers who actually care about you and developers who don't. Ubisoft is one of those developers who don't care about you. That's why they're going to charge you insane prices for the base game and charge you extra for content that should already be in the game. And by the way, this Game Pass content, this roadmap, is complete nonsense. It says right here that the Season Pass roadmap contains an exclusive mission, a character pack, a story pack 1, a story pack 2, and 2 cosmetic bundles. So what in the heck are you getting for paying all of this extra money? This better be like $5 to $10, maybe even $20, but even that's a lot. But I assume that it would be like $30 or $40. But what in the world do people have to look forward to? An extra mission, a couple outfits, some story packs? I mean, these are things that should already be in the game. But that's what Ubisoft does. They don't finish their game. They have a bunch of unfinished content. And so they're like, well, we're going to sell this at a later date rather than putting it in there or taking more time to polish our games, which is something that they have not been doing, which is why they have huge scandals going on, like Assassin's Creed Shadows copyright drama, as well as the Japanese government taking interest in investigating them and the main character of the game that they have been trying to prop up as a legendary samurai lately, and why so many people are obliterating and ratioing all of their content that they try to show to gamers, because gamers just know that it's BS, all of it. And their PC requirements and their season pass, it's just stupid. It's stupid that we don't get any of these things in the base game. You're already charging a crap ton of money for people to play this. And I think that the most tragic thing about all of this is that all of this content that isn't very much content at all is split up over a period of several months. So you have the exclusive mission and the character pack coming out on launch day. So I don't even know. You have to pay for the season pass right away just to get those 2 missions on the day that the game comes out. And then months later in the fall, then you get the story pack 1 and 2 cosmetic bundles. Yay, so glad I paid extra for this. And then a story pack 3 in the spring of 2025. So they're not going to have any content all the way from fall to spring. And then you're just going to get a story pack 2, A Pirate's Fortune. So all of these things already exist. They've already been working on these, but you don't get to play them unless you pay us extra money and wait for several months. And all of this content is probably not going to be designed perfectly. There are probably going to be a bunch of glitches, but it is what it is, right? Let's take a look at Ubisoft Entertainment stocks. 17.11. We went over this the other day, but this just brings home the reality of Ubisoft and how they have done as a gaming developer for the number of years that they have been active. They peaked a number of years ago and they have been going down ever since. They have just not been doing well. They really need these 2 games to succeed, and right now it looks like one of them might do well, but considering all of the controversy, Ubisoft being a very crappy developer, their employees being woke as heck, promoting sweet baby ink-like tactics, lying, stealing, copyright infringement, all of this nonsense. I'm telling you, something bad is going to happen to one of these games. Right now, it looks like Star Wars Outlaws is not the most appealing game right now. I really do feel bad for people who have pre-ordered this game, and all of this gameplay, which from what I understand is very close to the finished version of the game, is already riddled with so many problems that make the game almost virtually unplayable. I mean, really, you go only 5 or 10 feet in this game and you're met with NPCs that don't even see you until they're right smack dab in your face. Let's take a look at those PC requirements. Star Wars Outlaws recommends 3060 Ti for native 720p, man. Just so you can have stormtroopers be rendered perfectly as they shoot next to you, behind you, but never at you, and they can't even see you. But you know what game isn't having this issue? Black Myth Wukong. This post from Pirate Nation is very interesting. Black Myth Wukong's graphics settings leaked. Quote, the performance of Black Myth Wukong on PS5 by leaker Lunatic Ignis, 1440p to 60 frames per second, 2160p to 30 frames per second. You know, this game was reported to have that de novo security system that actually messes up the game's graphics and optimization. But from what people are saying, the game is still really well optimized. But you know who else is using de novo? Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. Yep, they're using it. And right now it looks like this game that has had a crap ton of money thrown into it is still poorly optimized. But Black Myth Wukong, a game from China, which is, by the way, very highly anticipated on Steam and PS5 right now, even with de novo, it is still having wonderful performance results. It's going to run very smoothly on PS5, and it looks like it's going to run smoothly on PC too. It also is much more anticipated than Star Wars Outlaws, which is looking to be an absolute mess in the coming days. By the way, this game, okay, I'm not talking about Black Myth, I'm talking about Outlaws. Outlaws comes out on August 30th, all right? That is very soon, 25 days from now. And right now, people who are a month out from seeing the game that they just paid a crap ton of money for, they are seeing gameplay that is turning them off. And I've already said in the past that even though pre-orders may seem high, a lot of people could backtrack on their pre-orders, all right? They could cancel their pre-orders, especially if word of mouth gets out about how extremely underdeveloped the game is, how strong Whammon the main character is, and how little these people actually care about developing a game that matters to the people who've been supporting them for so long. While the media goes out of its way to fabricate any kind of positivity that they can muster for this absurd game from an absurd game developer that has all but embraced DEI and ESG for the foreseeable future, we have other outlets who are actually giving their honest opinions and not just saying, oh, Star Wars Outlaws, you know, it's pretty good, you know, it could make some sales. Now, though, these people are being honest about their experiences with an actual game meant for actual players. Black Myth Wukong is the best playing Souls-like since Sekiro, bro. That is like the best compliment to give a video game like Black Myth Wukong right now, because Souls-likes are becoming immensely popular. My 2-hour hands-on preview with gorgeous new Souls like Black Myth Wukong had me despairing one moment and then celebrating the next. Oh man, I bet Ubisoft wishes so very badly that they could get good words like this, that they wouldn't have to just pay people with Disneyland trips and monetary compensation and Star Wars alien creature plushies and all of this other stuff that they are forced to do because so many people do not want to play this game. And the only way that they can get people interested in it is to coerce influencers into saying something positive about it. So will Ubisoft go kaput? Will Assassin's Creed Shadows succeed? Will Star Wars Outlaws succeed? I guess we'll find out in under 25 days, and that is all I've got for you guys in this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.